müssen verstehen wollen, meine Damen und Herren, welche Lehren unsere Nachbarn aus der Vergangenheit ziehen, welche Träume und welche Traumata sie aus der Geschichte ableiten. Ich glaube, nur dann gelingt uns am Ende der entscheidende Schritt, nämlich die Überwindung der Sprachlosigkeit, in die wir entweder immer wieder hineingeraten oder uns immer wieder hineinmanövrieren.
The First World War was thus not only about military operations and war culture. It was also about mankind, making use of the cluster of inventions that characterized modernity and globalization at the turn of the 20th century.
We could travel all the way from the Atlantic Ocean to the Bosphorus in just
We want to target at a young audience, so we use the tools of a drama to hide documentary content and to bring that to kids. And yes, this is seen on iTunes. If we don't put a proper content there at that place, they will not look for it in books like we learned.
Such kind of things must not be organized only in occasion of memorial dates or jubileums or something. This must be a permanent process.
The history shouldn't be used for sort of one way, so I think it should be carried out by many people, that we should try to include things that are not just our own perspective, so that we should always try to aim to include the Eastern Front and the African Front and what happened in Asia and what happened with the colonies. Always have that sort of vision in mind when we talk about memory and commemoration.
We actually could achieve, I think, today, after all these questions triggered yesterday evening, to really come to a discussion that overcomes this idea of national discourses becoming transnational in a way that the concept of the nation is not the major term that structures.
Legacies of the past, the future of European commemoration. That's our topic tonight, and that has been Ifa's conference topic all day long in a seminar-like discussions behind closed doors. We are going to open up the doors now. We will be learning about the key findings soon.
It is probably right to start with culture, but don't expect too many findings from me, because sometimes chairing these culture panels is like herding cats. We run in different directions, and maybe it's very good for this type of conference. It was enriching and enchanting in many ways, in terms of ideas for practice, dynamic, sometimes funny, but in a way, I wish there was more of what you asked me, which is more conclusions. With the way of artists is that we ask very good questions, but then we leave the others to reach conclusions on our behalf.
Well, we are used to the duty to remember nationally. And we are in general opposed to the injunction to forget, to oblivion, or amnestia. So Europe has to respect these different national memories. We have to live with them. But we could encourage shared commemoration.
We in our group had a lot of different presentations, but I think in the end we could really identify three elements which are very important to look at when we think about European remembrance, commemoration, history. The first was really to have a multi-perspective approach. The second was to go cross-border, and not only European, but even in a global level. And the third one really was to address the issue of memory.
I think one of the most impressive outcomes was that we have now a very, very broad new space in mind if we think about World War I, transnational space, but this space is concentrated to Western Europe. And Eastern Europe is still more or less a blind spot. We do not know what are the main places for, what are the main battlefields, and that's really something that should change.
Gerade weil diese Aufgabe so enorm anspruchsvoll ist, bin ich froh, dass Sie für den Titel der heutigen Veranstaltung den Plural gewählt haben. Erinnerungskulturen und nicht nur Erinnerungskultur. Im Singular, glaube ich, wäre das eine ganz andere Konferenz geworden. So wichtig und bewegend die gemeinsamen Gedenkfeiern dieses Sommers auf den Schlachtfeldern des Ersten Weltkrieges waren, eine von allen geteilte Erinnerung an das 20. Jahrhundert kann und wird es auf dem europäischen Kontinent vermutlich nicht und nie geben. Dazu haben unsere Vorfahren diese Geschichte zu verschieden erlebt und dazu prägt sie unsere Länder bis heute zu unterschiedlich. Was mir vor einigen Tagen der israelische Historiker Menachem Ben Sasson zugerufen hat: Die Geschichte wirft nicht nur Schatten auf die Gegenwart, sondern auch Licht. Vielen Dank.